The comfort zone is the biggest trap you'll ever face in your life, but the problem is it disguises itself as safety. It disguises itself as peace. It makes you believe you're okay right where you are. And that's the danger, because when life gets too comfortable, you stop moving. You stop growing. You stop chasing the potential that's inside of you. And the worst part is most people never realize it until years have slipped away, until the opportunity to become something greater has been wasted. The comfort zone doesn't destroy you overnight. It kills you slowly, quietly, day by day, decision by decision, until you wake up and wonder why your life looks the same as it did years ago. You see, the comfort zone gives you this illusion that you're living safe, but the truth is you're living small. You trade risk for regret, growth for stagnation, dreams for distractions. It whispers, yeah, stay here, it's fine, you've done enough. And that voice sounds reasonable, logical, even kind, but what it really means is don't try, don't push, don't find out what you're really capable of. That voice is the old self clinging to survival, desperate to keep you in chains, because it knows that the moment you step outside, the moment you face discomfort, you start building someone stronger, someone the old self can't control anymore. Think about it. Every breakthrough you've ever had in your life didn't come from being comfortable. It came from the moment you were tested. The first time you ran farther than you thought you could. The first time you stood up for yourself when fear was telling you to stay quiet. The first time you worked when your body wanted rest, when your mind was begging you to quit. Those moments didn't happen in comfort. They happened because you stepped out, you exposed yourself to struggle, and you grew from it. Comfort never gave you strength. Comfort never gave you courage. Comfort only gave you a slower death. But here's the real truth. Comfort is addicting. It's one of the most dangerous drugs in existence because it feels so good in the short term, yet it robs you blind in the long term. Comfort feels like relief, but what it's really giving you is decay. That extra hour of sleep, that skipped workout, that decision to avoid the hard conversation, that delay on starting the business, all of it adds up. And it piles up so quietly you don't even notice until the weight of regret crushes you. You think you're saving yourself pain by choosing comfort, but all you're doing is stacking pain for the future. And I want you to hear me on this. There is no such thing as staying the same. People like to say, I'm fine where I am, I'll just stay here. No, you're either moving forward or you're falling back. Growth doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop. The world keeps moving. And if you're sitting in comfort, you're falling behind while convincing yourself you're okay. That's the trap. That's the lie. And that's why the comfort zone is the most dangerous place you could ever live. Every great person you admire, every story of triumph, every success you've ever been inspired by, none of them were born in comfort. They were born in challenge. They were forged in struggle. They were created in the fire of discomfort. And that's why if you want to kill the old self, if you want to step into a life you've never had before, you've got to get out of the comfort zone. You've got to expose yourself to the pain, to the fear, to the uncertainty, because that's where you'll find the raw material that shapes you into who you're supposed to become. Most people are waiting. They're waiting for the right time, waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting until they feel ready. But comfort is what keeps them waiting forever. There is no right time. There is no perfect moment, and you'll never feel ready. That's the whole point. You're not supposed to. Growth requires uncertainty. Growth requires you to step when you don't feel prepared. Growth requires you to lean into fear, not run from it. The comfort zone tells you to wait, but waiting is nothing more than slowly dying in place. So the question is this: are you willing to give up comfort in order to live? Are you willing to trade safety for strength? Because comfort feels good now, but discomfort builds a future you can be proud of. Comfort makes you weak, but discomfort makes you unbreakable. And the decision is yours every single day. When that alarm goes off, when you feel the urge to skip, when you find yourself making excuses, you're either feeding comfort or you're killing it. Killing the comfort zone is not a one-time event. It's not a single decision. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment to face the hard things every day, to lean into the struggle, to walk directly into the storm instead of avoiding it. It's refusing to let the easy road steal your potential. It's refusing to let the illusion of safety rob you of strength. And once you start living this way, once you start saying no to comfort and yes to growth, you realize something powerful. Comfort was never safe. It was the most dangerous place you could have been. If you want to find out who you are, if you want to experience the real version of yourself, if you want to live without regret, you have to kill the comfort zone. Most people think staying safe is harmless. They think playing it small, avoiding risk, holding on to what feels familiar doesn't cost them anything. But here's the truth. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, every time you choose easy over effort, every time you choose safety over growth, you're paying a price. And the cost isn't always obvious right away, but it's there. The cost is your potential. The cost is the life you could have lived. The cost is the version of yourself that you'll never meet if you keep hiding in the safety of your comfort zone. You need to understand something. Comfort is not free. People act like choosing the easy way saves them from struggle. But what it really does is trade short-term ease for long-term regret. Think about the moments you've avoided hard things in your life. That workout you skipped. That business idea you shelved. That dream you talked yourself out of because it seemed too risky. At the time, it felt fine. You told yourself you were protecting yourself from failure, from pain, from embarrassment. But later, maybe months later, maybe years later, you feel that sting of regret. You realize you let the moment pass and you can't get it back. That's the bill comfort makes you pay, and it's always heavier than the pain you were trying to avoid. What you have to see is that safety is never neutral. You're either growing or you're dying. You're either moving forward or you're stuck in place while the world moves on without you. And the longer you stay in that safe place, the more it costs you. It costs you opportunities, it costs you experiences, it costs you strength, it costs you the chance to find out who you could have been. People waste entire lifetimes in the name of playing it safe. They never chase their dream, they never test their limits, they never push their potential. And then one day they look back and realize they didn't live, they just existed. And the dangerous part? Comfort convinces you that the cost isn't real. It whispers, you're fine, you've got time, you don't need to do it now. It sells you on the idea that playing it safe means you're not losing anything. But that's the lie. Because while you're sitting there doing nothing, time is still moving. Opportunities are still passing. And potential that you could have built is slipping away forever. Every single day you choose comfort, you're paying with your future. You ever wonder why so many people are miserable even though they look like they have everything figured out? It's not because they didn't have options. It's because they chose safety too many times. They chose the job that felt secure instead of the work that gave them purpose. They chose staying in a routine that kept them comfortable instead of chasing the unknown that could have transformed them. They chose not to risk failure, and what they ended up with was a slow, guaranteed failure, a life that never reached its potential. That's the hidden cost of safety. And here's what makes it worse. Comfort compounds. Just like discipline builds momentum in the right direction, comfort builds momentum in the wrong direction. The more you choose it, the easier it gets to keep choosing it. The easier it gets to justify not changing. The easier it gets to accept less than you're capable of. And before long, the old self has you locked up tight. Not because you couldn't break out, but because you never even tried. You never even tested the door. That's why the cost of staying safe isn't just wasted potential, it's wasted time. And time is the one thing you can't get back. You can rebuild money, you can rebuild strength, you can rebuild relationships. But once time is gone, it's gone forever. And comfort steals it right out from under you while convincing you it's giving you peace. I want you to imagine yourself years from now looking back at today. Will you be proud of the way you lived? Will you be proud that you settled? Will you be proud that you chose safety over possibility? Or will you regret the chances you didn't take, the risks you didn't embrace, the potential you never touched? The decisions you make right now decide the story you'll tell later. And every time you stay safe, you're writing a story that ends with regret. So don't fool yourself into thinking comfort doesn't cost you anything. It costs you everything. It costs you the courage you could have built. It costs you the life you could have created. It costs you the fire you could have lit inside yourself. Playing it safe is the most expensive decision you'll ever make because the bill comes due in regret, in wasted years, in a version of yourself you'll never get to meet. And when that day comes, when you're standing face to face with the reality of the life you lived, comfort won't be there to protect you. It won't be there to take responsibility. It'll be gone, and all you'll have left are the choices you made. That's the real cost. The comfort zone may feel safe right now, but in the end, it's the most dangerous place you could ever live. Fear is the biggest wall standing between you and the person you're supposed to become. And most people spend their entire lives running from it. They think fear is the enemy. They think fear is a sign to stop, to back down, to retreat into comfort. But here's the truth. Fear is not your enemy. It's your compass. Fear is the signal that you're standing right in front of growth. Fear is the doorway to the next level of yourself. And if you don't walk through it, you will never see what's on the other side. Think about how many times in your life you stopped because of fear. You had an idea, but you never said it out loud because you were afraid of judgment. You had a dream, but you never pursued it because you were afraid of failure. You wanted to make a change, but you never did because you were afraid of the unknown. Every single one of those fears was a test. Every single one of them was an opportunity to grow. But instead of facing them, you let fear dictate your life. And every time you gave in, you stayed the same. You stayed safe. You stayed stuck. But let's flip it. Look back at the moments when you did face fear. Maybe it was speaking up when you were shaking inside. Maybe it was showing up when you didn't feel ready. Maybe it was trying something new when you were scared to death of looking stupid. What happened? You came out stronger. You learned something about yourself. You built courage. You walked out of that moment with more confidence than you had going in. That's the lesson. Fear isn't a barrier. It's a bridge. And every time you cross it, you unlock more of yourself. Most people live in this illusion that fear is a stop sign. It's not. Fear is a green light. It's telling you, go this way. Because the areas that scare you the most are usually the areas where you're meant to grow the most. That's why the things you want the most in life often sit right on the other side of fear. You want success? It's behind fear of failure. You want love? It's behind fear of rejection. You want freedom? It's behind fear of uncertainty. Everything that matters is behind fear. And if you let it stop you, you'll never touch it. The comfort zone feeds on fear. It uses fear to keep you locked inside. It whispers, don't do it, don't try, don't take that risk. You might fail, you might get hurt, you might look foolish. And if you listen, you stay trapped, you stay comfortable, you stay exactly where you are. But the moment you flip your perspective on fear, the moment you start to see it as a sign of where you need to go, everything changes. Suddenly, fear isn't something you avoid, it's something you chase. You start to realize that the more scared you are of something, the more important it probably is for your growth. Fear is a test. It's life asking you, do you want this bad enough? Are you willing to face the discomfort? Are you willing to put yourself on the line? And most people fail the test. They choose comfort. They choose safety. They choose the illusion of security over the possibility of greatness. But the ones who win, the ones who grow, the ones who become unstoppable, they're the ones who look fear in the eye and step forward anyway. And here's the thing, you don't kill fear by waiting for it to go away. It never goes away. Fear doesn't disappear with time, it disappears with action. You beat fear by moving directly into it. You beat fear by leaning into the discomfort instead of running from it. You beat fear by proving to yourself over and over again that you can survive it, that you can endure it, that you can overcome it. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to act in spite of it. But most people want a life without fear. They pray for it. They hope for it. They tell themselves, once I stop being scared, then I'll start. That day never comes. Because fear doesn't vanish before action. It vanishes after action. The more you wait for fear to leave, the deeper it digs into you. The only way out is through. I need you to see this clearly. Fear is not the wall stopping you. Fear is the doorway daring you to walk through. And you've got to make a choice every single day. Do you step forward into the unknown? Do you lean into the resistance? Do you accept the uncertainty? Or do you retreat back into safety, back into the comfort zone, back into the same old life that's been holding you back? The life you want, the person you want to become, the strength you want to build, it all lives on the other side of fear. And that means every time you feel fear, you're closer than you think. You're not far from the breakthrough. You're standing right on top of it. But you'll never know unless you take that step. So stop treating fear like it's the enemy. Stop letting it control your decisions. Start seeing it for what it really is, a compass pointing you directly toward growth. And the next time fear shows up, don't run, don't retreat, step through it. Because everything you've been looking for is waiting on the other side. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the training ground. Most people treat discomfort like a warning sign. The moment they feel it, they back away. The moment they get tired, they quit. The moment something feels hard, they look for an easier route. That's the conditioning of the comfort zone. It trains you to believe that struggle means stop. But the truth is, discomfort is the exact place where transformation happens. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Think about it. Every breakthrough in your life came from a moment of discomfort. The first time you worked out after years of neglect, your body screamed at you. The first time you spoke in front of people, your heart raced like it was going to explode. The first time you tried something new, you felt clumsy, awkward, out of place. But every single one of those moments built you. They built strength. They built confidence. They built resilience. Discomfort was the price of growth, and you paid it. That's why you leveled up. But somewhere along the way, too many of us start avoiding discomfort. We start worshiping ease. We start thinking comfort equals success, that once life gets easy, we've made it. But easy doesn't make you strong. Easy doesn't build you into anything greater. Easy is the trap. Easy is the comfort zone in disguise, keeping you weak, keeping you stagnant, keeping you from ever touching the life you're capable of. If you want to kill the comfort zone, you have to flip the script. You have to rewire how you see discomfort. Stop treating it like a curse and start treating it like a gift, because the truth is, discomfort is feedback. It's life telling you, right here, this is where the growth is. Every time you feel it, that's the exact place you need to stay. That's where the change is happening. That's where you're evolving. But here's the challenge. You can't just dip your toe into discomfort and then run back to safety. You've got to embrace it until it becomes the new normal. You've got to live there long enough that what once broke you becomes ordinary. That's how growth works. The weight that once crushed you becomes light. The fear that once paralyzed you becomes manageable. The pain that once made you quit becomes just another part of the process. Discomfort becomes the baseline, and from that baseline, you get stronger. Let's be real. Nobody likes being uncomfortable. It hurts. It feels like resistance. It makes you question yourself. But that's the exact reason it's so valuable. Discomfort strips away the lies. It strips away the excuses. It reveals what you're really made of. Anybody can smile when life is easy. Anybody can stay disciplined when everything feels good. But who are you when it hurts? Who are you when you're tired, when you're doubting yourself, when every part of you is screaming to quit? That's the real test. That's where character is built. When you embrace discomfort as the new normal, you stop running from the test. You start leaning into it. You start chasing it. You start understanding that the struggle is not separate from success. It's the path to it. You can't avoid the grind and still expect greatness. You can't dodge the pain and still expect strength. You can't escape discomfort and still expect growth. They're one and the same. Most people wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect level of motivation before they act. But nothing changes until you get uncomfortable. You don't get strong sitting on the couch. You don't get confident hiding in the shadows. You don't build resilience by staying in your bubble. Growth demands discomfort, period. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop wasting time waiting for it to get easier. It doesn't get easier. You get better. And here's the shift you've got to make. You need to start chasing the things that make you uncomfortable instead of avoiding them. If something scares you, do it. If something challenges you, lean into it. If something makes you doubt yourself, step into it. That's the compass. That's the signal. That's life saying, right here, this is where you need to be. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. The more you start to realize that discomfort is not punishment, it's progress in disguise. But the only way you'll ever see it that way is if you live there long enough. If you keep dipping in and out, you'll never adapt. You'll always feel like discomfort is this unbearable weight. But when you stay there, when you push through day after day, it stops feeling impossible. It becomes normal. And once discomfort is normal, the comfort zone has no power over you anymore. That's when you're free. That's when you're dangerous. That's when nothing can stop you because nothing scares you anymore. Discomfort is the signal. Discomfort is the path. Discomfort is the tool life uses to build you into the person you're supposed to become. Stop avoiding it. Stop fearing it. Embrace it until it feels like home. Because when discomfort becomes your normal, growth becomes your lifestyle. Mental resilience is the backbone of everything. It's the invisible armor that keeps you moving when everything around you says stop. Most people underestimate how powerful the mind really is. They think strength is built in the body, that power comes from muscles, from physical effort, but the body will quit long before the mind does. It's your mind that decides whether you keep going. It's your mind that determines whether you push through or whether you fold. And if you want to kill the comfort zone, you need to build a mind that's unbreakable. Let me tell you something. Life will not play fair. It's going to hit you with things you never expected. It's going to throw obstacles at you that you didn't see coming. It's going to test you in ways you don't feel prepared for. And in those moments, your comfort zone is going to call out to you like a siren. It's going to whisper, go back, retreat, quit. This is too much. And if you haven't built resilience, you'll listen, you'll fold, you'll run back to what's safe. But when you've trained your mind, when you've made resilience your foundation, you don't break under pressure. You rise under pressure. The problem is that most people avoid anything that feels mentally hard. They want quick results, instant gratification, and painless victories. But that's not how resilience is built. You don't build mental toughness in a world that always goes your way. You build it in the fire. You build it when life doesn't care about your plan, when the setbacks keep coming, when the path feels impossible. That's where the muscle of resilience is trained. And just like a muscle, it grows only when it's pushed to the limit. Every time you face adversity, you've got a choice. You can either break down, complain, and retreat back into comfort, or you can use it as a rep, as training, as another opportunity to sharpen your mind. That's how you build resilience, not by avoiding the storm, but by learning to stand in the middle of it and keep moving forward. And the more storms you endure, the stronger you get. The pain doesn't control you anymore. The setbacks don't define you. The failures don't break you. They become fuel. They become proof that you can endure, that you can overcome, that nothing has the power to stop you. But here's what's dangerous. Most people quit way too early. The moment they feel resistance, the moment they hear that voice in their head telling them, you're done, you can't go any further, they stop. But that voice is a liar. That voice is fear dressed up as reason. That voice is comfort trying to drag you back. Resilience is built when you ignore that voice, when you prove it wrong. Every time you go one more rep, one more step, one more minute beyond the point where your mind says quit, you're laying another brick in the wall of resilience. And eventually, that wall becomes unshakable. Resilience doesn't mean you never fall. You're going to fall. You're going to fail. You're going to have moments where you feel crushed. But resilience is what makes you stand back up every single time. It's what makes you refuse to stay down. It's what makes you show up again and again, no matter how many times you've been knocked down before. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who rise above. Resilient people don't give failure the last word. And here's something nobody tells you. Resilience isn't built in the highlight reel moments. It's built in the small, boring, everyday choices. It's built when you get up early, even when you're tired. It's built when you stick to your commitments, even when no one's watching. It's built when you do the hard thing over and over again without needing applause or recognition. Resilience is the accumulation of 1,000 small wins, 1,000 small moments of discipline, 1,000 small battles where you chose not to quit. When you live like that, you become unstoppable. You stop being controlled by the ups and downs of life. You stop being defined by circumstances. Resilience makes you consistent. Resilience makes you relentless. Resilience makes you dangerous because no matter how hard you get hit, you always find a way to keep moving forward. But make no mistake, it's not easy to build. It requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires putting yourself in uncomfortable situations on purpose just to train your mind to endure. It requires choosing the hard path when the easy one is right there in front of you. And that's exactly why so few people ever develop real resilience. They want comfort more than they want strength. They want ease more than they want power. But if you want to break free, if you want to kill the comfort zone once and for all, you need resilience more than anything else. Resilience is what allows you to keep moving when the pain hits. Resilience is what carries you through when your motivation is gone. Resilience is what builds the gap between who you are now and who you're capable of becoming. Without it, you're always going to retreat back to comfort. With it, you can face anything. So stop looking for shortcuts. Stop waiting for life to get easier. Stop begging for things to go your way. Instead, start training your mind to be stronger. Start seeking out the situations that challenge you. Start embracing the pain, the struggle, the setbacks as the gym where resilience is built. Because once your mind becomes unbreakable, nothing in this world can keep you stuck in the comfort zone again. For too long, people have been taught to define success by comfort. We're told success means stability, peace, convenience, luxury, the big house, the nice car, the easy life where everything flows without friction. But if that's your definition of success, you've already lost. Because success built on comfort is fragile. It's shallow. It doesn't last. Comfort will never satisfy you because it was never designed to. Comfort is the ceiling that keeps you trapped from ever touching the heights you were built for. Real success doesn't come from avoiding struggle. It comes from walking straight through. Audit. It comes from breaking yourself down and building yourself back up stronger. Again and again. It comes from chasing goals that scare you, from pursuing visions that stretch you so far beyond what you thought was possible that comfort becomes irrelevant. When you're living in pursuit of growth, success is no longer about ease. It's about becoming. The problem is most people never redefine success for themselves. They're running someone else's race, chasing someone else's idea of what making it looks like. They're measuring their lives by society's standards, money, possessions, appearances, without ever asking themselves the deeper question, who am I becoming? Because that's the only measure of real success. It's not about what you own. It's not about how comfortable your life looks from the outside. It's about who you are when life tests you, who you are when the struggle hits, who you are when there's no comfort to hide behind. If you want to kill the comfort zone, you've got to redefine what success means to you. Success is growth. Success is resilience. Success is the ability to face discomfort head on and not run from it. Success is knowing that you gave everything you had, even when no one else was watching, even when nobody clapped for you. Success is not about arriving at some destination where everything is easy. It's about constantly climbing, constantly evolving, constantly chasing the best version of yourself. And when you start to live that way, something incredible happens. You stop being controlled by external rewards. You stop needing validation. You stop needing life to go your way in order to feel powerful. Because your definition of success no longer depends on comfort. It depends on who you are becoming in the process. That's freedom. That's strength. That's the kind of success nobody can take from you. Look around you. How many people are stuck because they're chasing the wrong kind of success? They're chasing comfort. They think if they just get a little more money, they'll feel fulfilled. If they just get the perfect relationship, the perfect house, the perfect lifestyle, then they'll finally feel alive. But once they get it, they still feel empty because they built their lives on ease, not on growth. And ease never fulfills. Growth does. Success that matters is built on the back of discomfort. It's built in the moments when you wanted to quit but didn't. It's built in the nights you pushed through exhaustion, in the mornings you showed up even when you had every excuse not to. It's built in the small daily battles where you chose to discipline yourself instead of letting yourself off the hook. That's where the real success lives. Not in the comfort zone, but far beyond it. And here's the truth. When you kill the comfort zone and redefine success, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone around you. Because when people see you living differently, when they see you chasing growth instead of comfort, it forces them to question themselves. It forces them to wake up. It forces them to realize they've been settling. Your life becomes a challenge to others. And that's a kind of success that no material comfort can ever buy. But none of this happens by accident. You've got to consciously choose to redefine success. You've got to reject the easy definition the world hands you and create your own. You've got to decide that your life will not be measured by how comfortable you are, but by how much you've grown, how much you've given, how much you've overcome. That decision is the death of the comfort zone. That decision is the birth of real freedom. Because once you've redefined success, you'll start living differently. You'll stop chasing comfort and start chasing challenge. You'll stop running from the hard things and start running toward them. You'll stop being scared of pain, failure, and struggle and start recognizing them as the stepping stones to everything you've ever wanted to become. That's the kind of shift that changes everything. Most people live their whole lives trying to make things easier. You're not here to make things easier. You're here to make yourself stronger. You're here to kill the comfort zone once and for all and build a life where success is not about what you have, but about what you're made of. Because when you live that way, you can lose everything and still be unstoppable. You can face anything and still rise. You can walk into the unknown without fear because you've already killed the one thing that was holding you back, your addiction to comfort. Redefine success. Stop worshiping comfort. Stop settling for easy. Build a life where growth is the goal, where discomfort is the standard, and where strength is the reward. That's the only kind of success worth living for.